Well, hi guys, welcome to the session. My name's Paul, this is Plan Z, and a couple of people said, "Hey Paul, could you do a session on the harmonizer?" And another couple of people said, "Paul, could you dive into the pitch shifter?" And I'm thinking they want us to dive into a PS6. And you have pitch shifting and harmonizers in PS6. Most of the PS is from PS3, I think. You got your PS2 was very popular, and was these pedals were kind of the first non-rack affordable pedals that allowed us to kind of get different pitches. So I've set up a bunch of patches for us. This is going to be a part one, where part one we're going to understand how to use it, set up a few different things, show how we can use it to be pretty, to be ugly, to be different things, and then in the second part, which will be hopefully a way I can keep these two videos short, we're going to go through 5-6 patches that I've set up that show you using them in different ways. However, here, staying focused on this session, we're going to have 2 patches. This one we're going to create what I said, and then I want to show you another couple of patches where I'm using it to create a new kind of reverb for myself in GT1000. So I think you could pull these tricks in GX100 as well, because I think you've got both. I don't know if you've got all the same settings. I imagine you have. So we're listening to, at the moment, the direct mix coming through. We've got the pitch untouched. If I turn off net pickup of the Tele, I'm using the Tele because it's nice and thin, and if we've got problems with the highs, we can hear it. Okay, so let's put it on. Nothing's changed because I've not changed the pitch and I've not brought the level in. So what I'm going to do is let's start out with fifths would be an easy place. Now, I'm illiterate when it comes to reading music. I don't understand it all. I tend to use my ears for most of it. But I do know that fifths is your chord. Yeah? So we can create that by moving this to -5, which is a fifth. And there I'm going a fifth down. All right? So let's, we've got me playing the note. Let's bring in the level to about 50. Let's see how we start off. Maybe I want it a bit louder for that. Ooh. Let's stick on a bit of drive, pull back our harmony a bit, and let's dial this in to be like a solo type tone. Okay, so at the moment we're just going to stay focused on a couple of settings. So we've got our level here, and when we split this into 2 voices, we have 2 harmonies we can add. So let's now try going, let's spice up our little solo by adding, I don't know, let's try a third to start with. Up there, all right. I could bring this one to a fifth up. Let's change the sound of it. Yeah, I kind of preferred it down in the lower. All right, but there again, we've got level to watch. So here we might want to pull back a little bit of level there. Pull back the fine tune. I just want to pull that one back. So now let's talk about the fine tune. So for example, let's put these both on 0. Let's just have our signal coming through at 100. Let's keep these bad boys, let's have them at about 50. Let's start with 50. And what Eddie Van Halen would do is he would kick the fine tune of 1 plus 9 on one side and minus 9 on the other side. Run that through a plexi, 5150 or what have you, and you'd have his tone. With a cleaner tone, it will give you some chorusing. So all we've done there is we've just got the level at 50, we've just turned them slightly off tune each side and left the pitch in the middle. got two voices in mono. Okay, we could have that in stereo. So it's quite beautiful, and a lot like a chorus. And we've got choruses. So let's go now into a couple of, before we get a bit more complex with it, let's now look at what the pre-delay does. Okay, so we've got, what we can do is use the pre-delay. Actually, what we'll do before we move that, let's change our keys. Let's go to -5 + 7 as a start. So what we're going to do, can you hear there's a little bit of movement happening there in the high ends? We've now got this feature where at the moment we've got both sides set to mono. All right, click between the two pages there. On page 1 we've got feedback. On page 2 we don't, because the feedback here affects both of them. It's slightly different when we get over there, but let's talk about differences and similarities there in a moment. Okay, so we've got that at the moment like this. I've got the fine tune off, so let's just pull our fine tune back on. Okay, so now what we're going to do is maybe the higher one, let's just drop the level of that one slightly, because higher frequencies are slightly more audible. So now let's change this knob here. Now at the moment we're running 2 mono, but we can be running using, it modulates, and it's very, very subtle. We might not even pick up on it. What I'm going to do is just throw our tune back to -9 for a mo. Let's see what happens. Now we've got slow, medium and fast. I'm going to go through both on each. So we've got them together. I wonder if it'll be easier to hear it with them together. Let's put them in mono. What's happening there is there's a shimmer happening within, like a waving, and at the moment we can hear it. If you listen closely in headphones, it's happening very fast. And if we slow that down, let's go to the slow. It's not shimmering as fast, it's not as wavy. Can you hear the difference? Something else that can help you when things are sitting on top of each other a little bit is your pre-delay. Now your pre-delay is going to work for you in several ways with your feedbacks. What we're going to do here is we've got our notes. Let's just separate them from us, I don't know, by about 30 milliseconds, yeah? To start with. That's pushed them just slightly behind my notes. Let's go a bit further back. Let's go to 100. Let's go to 200. Now we can actually go to 300 and then it switches to tap tempos, but you're not, even in your tap tempos, you're not going to get much more than 300 mil. And in the next video I cover with you a little strategy I've got around that. Creates quite a nice sound. So, but I've just maxed this out for the moment. Yeah, to 300. So you can hear, like a delay or a reverb, it's separating the space between what I actually play and the note that we hear. Now let's look at the feedback with this. So let's just increase the feedback to halfway. Let's go all the way. Let's go stereo. Alright, so what's happening here is the feedback is putting a delay on whatever you put here. That sounds obvious, Paul. Yes, but what's not so obvious to you is when you're in minus numbers, the feedback's going to go cascade down, and when you're in plus numbers, it's going to cascade up. Have a listen. So let's just go to 1, and let's just go -5. Excuse me. Let's go +5. Okay, so you can play around with this and the feedback to create different glitch type effects using other effects, and we'll get into that as these videos progress. I think there's going to be several sessions on this effect. It's a very deep effect. But for the moment, let's just put our fine tunes in the middle, take our pre-delay off, take our feedback off, leave ourselves at 50. Let's go 2 voice. Let's go minus. Tell you what we'll do. I'm going to make 2 sounds in this patch, 3 sounds in this patch that we'll take loops of. Let's leave +5, no, -5, +7. Let me just. Let's deal with this pre-delay. Let's take that off. So before I show you a couple of other sounds, I just want to take a little loop and show you something, and we're just going to layer something, see how we get on. So here I'm going to move this into stereo, and I'm just going to pull back the direct mix of me back, so the one in the middle has got softer. And I just want to check my fine tune, so there's my thing. Let's check. Yeah, we're on there. And I'm going to go mono. So I'm just going to bring in a beat, and I'm going to try taking a little loop, a very short loop. Okay, so I've got my loop. Let's bypass the loopers again. So now we're going to create a completely different sound in a little moment, but before we do, let's just prep this side before we start talking about the Harmonist, which now we've got an understanding of how this can work. I'm going to go to -2, I'm going to go 2 voice, stereo, this one, so this is -24, which is at -2 octaves, okay, and here I'm going to go -12, which is -1 octave. I'm going to take out all of the dry signal, and I think I'm going to bring up the level of that one because it will be quieter than this one, and I'm going to bring up this one, and we'll level it properly once we get things up and running. I'm just using that as a starting point. Okay, so now let's start talking about the Harmonist. Let's just change our divide here. Now the Harmonist is exactly the same in so many ways, bar a couple of differences. So I'll talk to you about the differences first. Here you have to specify the key you're working in. Alright, otherwise things will glitch and go out, and that can be used to effect if you're looking for glitch effects, okay? The other thing is that it's not so good at chords, it's better for single notes, okay? So we can do here, we're at unison, 1 voice the same way. Now unison looks different, in the other one it's got 0, but here it's called unison. And the other difference is when you get down to -1 octave, so you go from sevenths, and then it goes to -1 octave. Now in the other one we can get the pitches between sevenths and 1 octave, and we continue down, and it does the same when we get down to 2 octaves, okay, so it looks slightly different there. However, for all intents and purposes, let's go to fifths to start with, and we've got the level down and we've got our level up. So here the settings are in slightly different places, okay? So this is the level over on this side. So we've got our main level coming through at 100%. Let's bring through that fifth. Now this one won't like it when you go to the wrong key. It'll give you problems, so remember this when you're using it. Now, like the other one, we've got pre-delay, so let's just crank that. Again, we've got to 300. Let's just try that an octave down. Okay, so let's now increase the feedback on that. Let's get it a bit louder. Let's have equal volume. And obviously your mind just goes, oh my god, there's so many things I could put on that where that would sound fantastic. So we can play around with our feedback, we can play around with our pre-delay, and we can use these effects to create synths, all kinds of different things, beautiful things and not so beautiful things. So let's now try introducing 2 here, and let's try doing the 5ths and 7ths. Oh no, let's try 5ths and 5ths and see how we get on. This might not work, guys. Let's watch our levels. So 40 direct. Let's go. That one's higher, so let's bring this one back a bit. Yeah, okay, so you can hear much happier when not even very happy there. It's not liking the full chord. It doesn't like chords. It's much more for... Maybe I need to change that. Let's... what we got? Oh yeah, probably we want to... I need to fiddle around with this more. I should have written something for the session. And actually, I did write something for the session using this, and we're going to create 2 sounds now. So basically, you've got the idea. It will glitch on you if you haven't got this set right. You've got all the same features and functions, right? So what we're going to do now is knock this into a 2-voice mono, where I'm going to go down to -1 octave there, and here, let's start out in 5th, see how we get on. Might not work for us, and we're going to bring our levels down to 0. We're going to have no direct mix, and we're going to try creating a bit of a synth tone now. So I should have, if I bring up the level here, what I'm going to do is stick a and play with this in a little second, but let's just come across to here and finish writing this sound first. So what I'm going to do is start off, we've got -2 and -1 octave happening here, yeah? No dry mix. I'm just going to stick a slicer on that. I'm then going to stick a chorus on. Okay, so there's my sound 1, which I'm going to blend with my sound 2. And to do that, I'm going to actually kick this open and turn on a fuzz. Sorry for the noise, guys. Let's pull back that gain pot a touch. And what we're going to do is going to bring in this level first, so it sits in the middle. So we've got our slicers either side of us. Let's just, I did say to watch these levels here. One will be louder than the other. And let's just kick this one back a bit. Yeah, lovely. Now let's bring this guy up the middle. Now let's get the high harmony coming through on that. Want to change. We'd want to look at the key that we're playing in the line that we're doing, but hopefully this is giving you an idea of how you can transform this effect. Okay, so before we head out of Dodge, let's now just kick this down. Let's go -2. Let's kick it into 1 voice. Let's take off the chorus. let's just have it on its own. Let's bring up the level. What we're going to do is turn this up to maybe about 80. And I'm going to stick a fuzz on. Pull back my gain pot a touch. Going to go to the RC600, bring in my loops. Oh. So what I can probably do here is pull this back a touch to see how we are there. Oh, I want more of it, I want more of it. Get the idea? So I would have taken a loop there, but I'm having a bit of a bad spine day and the feet aren't working so well. So in this video I've given you a little idea of an introduction of how you can use this effect, and in the next video, which will be shorter than this one, we're going to have a look at how I've used it with other effects in other effects chains, give you hopefully some ideas for inspiration. I'll catch you a little bit later. In there we'll be covering the S-bend pedal where it will feature a little bit. I'll catch you a bit later. Take care. Bye-bye.